everybody. Welcome on in for part 3, heading into episode 2 of our unconventional run-through of Alan Wake. So as a quick disclaimer to anybody who may not be following the series so far, if you're looking for a standard playthrough of the game, this isn't it. We're going to be looking at literally everything, all the multimedia information, including the survival guide, Alan Wake Illuminated, Alan Wake Files, the comic books, the Old Gods website, even the novel. So we're going to be stopping the gameplay quite often to swap back and forth. If you are interested in just a standard playthrough, I do have a version of that on the channel already. Feel free to go check that out. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get going. Alright, so I know last time I briefly said that the visions, the QR code visions, we weren't going to look at whatsoever, because they mostly just had to do with Alan Wake 2, and that's largely true. The first vision's all about initiation foreshadowing, Vision 3 is all about return foreshadowing, but when I was listening through the second vision real quick, I think it actually would be very useful to go through that right now, because it helps to establish Alan's connection to the Dark Place, and it's not really a foreshadowing for a different game. So I think we should go ahead and knock that out. So real quick, let's do that. And it just gets into where Alan draws inspiration from, which is very, very relevant to this story as well as Alan Wake 2. So let's go ahead and do that. Kaboom. Kaboom. Let's go.
The Dark Place was an endless waking dream. I saw visions carried by the ebb and flow of different dream states. They seeped in from the reality beyond. Things I had a connection to, but also things I couldn't possibly know. I used them in my writing to make it real, so that the parts that weren't would become so. And there were visions that I knew were not real. Ideas I had lost, often of Casey. I had written about him for years. I used them as well. The lies had to feel true for them to become true. Had I always written this way? Even before, seen things without realizing I was seeing them, thinking they were mine. Was this what inspiration was for me?
And that's the end there. And it really just goes ahead and reconfirms the entire idea that, yeah, all the inspiration for his stories were done through his connection with the Dark Place. I mean, he saw past, present, and future there, thought they were, oh, this is all coming from my head, wrote about it, when in fact that wasn't the case. He's very much... I wouldn't really call a prophet, so to speak, but he has certain degree of being able to see things. In a weird sense, it's kind of like how Max, after he was on Valkyr, could see things, have an understanding, and data mined his own universe. But regardless, let me go ahead and grab. I have my fat stack of notes here. So let's go ahead and get things going. And go through the forever of the loading screen.
If the pain gets any worse or you experience any other symptoms, you should come see me. I'll let you get on with it then. Sarah, Sheriff Breaker, is waiting for you. She's very good at her job. I'm sure she can locate your wife in no time.
Doc Nelson was the image of a small-town doctor. Sheriff Breaker had called him to the station to take a look at the cut in my head.
Alright, so we're going to hang out here because apparently there is something I never noticed. But the doc starts humming some stuff, which is kind of curious. So I'm just going to hang out here.
I believe you'll find the sheriff in her office. Just go down the corridor.
So he starts humming Row, Row, Row Your Boat, which ends in life is but a dream. Very, very relevant, considering the setting we're in.
Good to go, Mr. Wake. Sarah's probably waiting for a chance to talk to you.
Yeah, like, until my most recent playthrough, I never hung around here long enough for that.
I'm sorry you had to cut your morning fishing short for this, Doc.
Oh, she's a beauty, ain't she? Not the biggest I ever caught, if you can believe that coming from an old fisherman like me, but she's right up there. Now, she's a largemouth bass, which is what you're after if you prefer a lure. Now, if you want either trout or salmon, on the other hand, then it's fly fishing for you. You a fishing man, Mr. Wake? Oh, doesn't really matter, I suppose. But it can be very relaxing out there. You can't get me off the water this time of year. Closest thing to heaven.
I'll take your word for it, Doc.
Hey there, Zachary. Thank you so much for the donation, buddy. Jesus, imagine what happened if Alan did acid. I mean, we don't really have to imagine, because we don't know what the filmmaker dosed him with.
The sheriff wanted to see you in her office.
It's kind of implied that the filmmaker dosed Alan with something, so we kind of saw him on acid. Anyways, before we get running, there's a couple cool little things that were in other renditions of this scene. So, in the novel, Doc Nelson mentions that the nearest hospital is in Templeton, which is a nearby town. First and only time that town has ever been mentioned. So, but we don't know if that's accurate, because the novel is also non-canon, so who knows? Really comes up to you want to accept things. Also, in the novel, I do like this one. After Alice goes missing, Rose starts talking to anybody who comes into the diner to try to gather information and help with a town-wide effort to try to locate her. And Pat also uses the radio show to gather intel, so he has people calling in all the time. So we have literally the whole town aiding in the missing persons right now. Now, another thing is in the survival guide, Doc Melson does mention that he is suspicious of Dr. Hartman and Cauldron Lake Lodge as a whole, that something seems off about him. So he's on Hartman's rear when it comes to that. Hey there, Kenyatta. I'm doing good. Hope you're doing well. Okay. I think that's it for this room, so let's go ahead and head out real quick. But yeah, someone mentioned in the last stream whether everyone just kind of went along with whatever Hartman was saying. Well, Doc here says, yeah. Do you know the pages by Zane and the guy? Yes, Marama. I was going to talk about that when we see the shoebox later. Because how Zane wrote stuff in the survival guide isn't relevant until the shoebox becomes relevant.
Thank you for testing the lights, Miss Weaver. Everything seems to be fine.
I don't have the luxury of being complacent, Deputy Grant. The bulbs will need changing soon. You can't change them in the dark.
I'll be sure to take care of it, Miss Weaver. Have a nice day now.
Very good. I'll come back later on to remind you, just in case.
Mr. Wake, the sheriff is waiting for you in her office down the corridor. That was Cynthia Weaver. I guess you can call her the town eccentric. She used to be the editor of the local newspaper, but she's focused on, other things these days.
She is.
She'd fit right in where I come from.
As you can see, she's a little obsessed with maintaining the light bulbs of the whole town, refuses to step on shadows, things like that. Back in her day, she wrote about all sorts of weird things in the paper. Bright Falls has a colorful history. Of course, what small town hasn't?
True, true, true. Give me a second. I just saw your comment about the closest thing to heaven in regards to Max Payne, so let me just write that down.
The sheriff wants to see you in her office, Mr. Wake.
I gotcha, Grant. Alright, so there's a little bit of characterization in the survival guide where apparently Deputy Grant has a bad habit of gossiping, which she's trying to get rid of. But on top of that, she's a weird mix between understanding and judgmental in the same time. But anyways, hello Sudoku Dragon. Glad you caught live. What's going on? Hope you're doing well. Alright. Row, we got lots of stuff over here.
Yeah, it's Mulligan here. I'm at Stucky's gas station with Thornton. There's no sign of him. Over.
Wait. Yeah, this is Thornton. Look, we've located the brake float. It's here. That's some good news, right? Stucky was supposed to be driving it at the rehearsal today. Over.
Oh, give me that. Mulligan here. Looks like someone really thrashed the garage. Over.
Okay, roger that, guys. Keep looking for Stucky. Jane's out.
Okay, Deputy Janes. Unfortunately, he never shows up in the game, but we will see him in the comic book when we get to that phase. And do we think the new voice actor for Max Payne is gonna remake? We will have a new voice actor. Personally, I hope that they make a meta reference in game that he sounds different, kind of like in Max Payne 2, where he acknowledges that his face is different after Timothy Gibbs took over the role from Sam Lake. But yeah, they can make the direct reference, and I think it'd go over better. All right, we got a coffee thermos, and you guys know what that means. Coffee lore. Let's go. This is on page 63. Where are you? And someone asked about the recommendation for 1 hour of silence interrupted by Pikmin. I have no clue why that's there. I have never looked up Pikmin content in my life. Okay, so 63. And I think it's this one right here. Alice looked... Oh, sorry. Here. That it? Sorry. Breaker swears she had nothing to do with coffee thermos on the table in the radio room down the station. What is this? Some sort of joke? These half-wits Thornton and Mulligan are to blame, I'm sure. Sorry, I mean Tweedledum and Tweedledummer. God, I hate local law enforcement. Yeah, no idea. This, Thermos FBI agent guy he does not seem to like his job very much. Just saying.
Alice looked through the viewfinder, lining up the shot. Cauldron Lake was breathtaking. Something caught her eye. A figure standing in the shadows behind the cabin, like a thin woman in a black dress. She lowered the camera and looked again. No one there. Just a collection of bushes that looked vaguely human-shaped. She shook her head and laughed.
Sure. Never what you see there. Check out the light. Wait, did we already...
The air in the visitor center was heavy with an awful...
Oh, sorry. Nope. I shouldn't have read that one yet. So when I was doing my run-through, I accidentally grabbed this one. So just remind me to read that again later. That was my mistake. Anyways, moving on. I've never played Pikmin, to be honest.
Sheriff Breaker is waiting for you down the corridor in her office.
Yes, we're going. Okay, identifying features. Knack for winning contests. Yes, this was actually a... I don't know if it was like an ARG or some kind of submission contest, but yeah. And these are devs. Richard Bogg, Bruce Dansky, and Jacob Miller. On a camping trip overdue. Haven't been in contact. Yep. So Remedy developers went missing in town.
Come in, Mr. Wake. Your phone's on the desk. The battery was dead. It's charged now.
She sounds so creepy there. Before we do that, I want to go look over here. This is
your phone, Mr. Wake?
Remastered only. But there's an envelope on here for Sheriff Frank Breaker from the FBC, the Federal Bureau of Control, right here. And there's a sticky note saying we got to ask Dad about
this.
Make sure
you don't forget your phone.
Have you started looking for my wife yet?
My men are already on it. Now, can you tell me what happened?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. We were arguing. I walked out of the cabin.
The cabin on Cauldron Lake?
How did you end up at Stucky's gas station?
I wanted to tell her what had happened last night, but I couldn't. She'd lock me up. Excuse me. I need to take this. Hello?
Alan, please help me.
Alice?
Stop talking to the law. You'll do exactly what I say if you ever want to see your wife again.
Who is this?
Go to the back lot. There's a hole in the fence on the left. Look inside the junker. I left a little something there to convince you we're all on the same page here. After you ditch the cops, you're gonna meet me in Elderwood National Park. There's a spot called Lover's Peak. Midnight. Don't do nothing stupid, pal. We're watching you.
So it's kind of dubious whether we're going to call it retcon or not. Like, this is a post-retcon event. Because the letter was from William Kirkland, which is the head of internal investigation. at the FBC, but the thing is, Kirkland is mentioned back in right now, like in one of the comic books released in 2010 alongside the game. William Kirkland is already mentioned in relation to Frank Breaker, and yes, they do mention Frank in Control.
I need some fresh air. Can I go out? In the back, maybe?
Of course, Mr. Wake. I understand. You can get there through the cells. Deputy Grant can show you the way.
I'm sorry. All of this, it's just a lot to take in.
Take your time, Mr. Wake. I understand. Can I ask you what the call was about, Mr. Wake?
It's personal.
Well, we are looking for your wife, and I'm going to need your cooperation if I'm going to help you.
I need a moment, after I get some fresh air.
Okay. You can find me here. We'll talk when you feel up to it.
Yeah, the comics, we'll talk about the comic when we get there, but it doesn't necessarily say FBI either. It might. It just has I think it just has a name.
Mr. Wake, can I help you with anything?
I need to get some air. The sheriff said I could go out back.
Of course, Mr. Wake. You can get there through the cell corridor. Just don't mind Walter in there. He's one of our regulars.
I thought he quit drinking for good.
Oh, no such luck. He went on a bender and beat Danny pretty badly. He started shouting like that the moment he woke up. You can get to the back lot through that door and down the corridor, Mr. Wake.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, and let's do this and then we'll talk more.
Hey, mister! Hey, can you turn the lights on? The deputies, they don't understand. They won't listen to me. I need it to be bright in here.
All right, Walter. Here you go, Wally.
Thank you, man, thank you. Hey, you're all right. You're a good guy. Don't let anybody tell you different. You know, I shouldn't even be in here. The cops, they got it all wrong. See, sure, I beat him up, but I wasn't drunk. I mean, I wasn't drunk at the time. I only got drunk afterward. Okay, listen, you gotta listen carefully now. Here's the kicker. That wasn't Danny. No, sir. It only looked like him. You wanna know who it really was? I'll tell you who it really was. It was a goddamn space alien!
True.
I know it sounds like something that a drunk would say, but believe me, I wasn't drunk then.
Okay, buddy. Okay, you just go lay down, and I'm gonna go mess with you by flipping the lights back off.
Oh, why'd you do that for? You're with them, aren't you? You're those space aliens. You think you got me right where you want? Will you just wait? You just wait.
All right. Sorry. I just had to mess with him just a little bit.
In spite of its human mask, to describe the dark presence as intelligent would have implied human qualities on something decidedly inhuman. Nonetheless, it found the one spot in the diner that was dark enough. Some light spilled into the corridor, ravaging it. But it took the pain. Horrible as it was, the writer would soon fix that. It would be coming to the one place where it still had power.
I think this is the first reference we get. No, there was one before this, non-Nightmare Mode, where they talk about the dark presence. It's funny because weirdly enough, they kind of set it up so it's possible you may think it's UFOs because you have the UFO looking light in the nightmare sequence. You have a newspaper about seeing lights in the sky, people seeing UFOs when you get to the diner, and then you see it again in the woods. So if you don't know what's going on, you might be misled and think that there is aliens.
The early morning light hurt my eyes and made my head ache. The man on the phone had said, "Go through the fence on the left."
What's up, Christopher? Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well. Alright, so it's not going to be relevant right now, but this brick building, we'll talk about it later. is the Wahlberg's Packing Company. That's all I gotta say there.
The caller had told me to find a hole in the fence behind the police station. There was something for me in an abandoned car.
1 second. Oh, let's go grab ourselves a thermos and do some more of that stuff. Okay, time for some thermos lore. Okay, so thermos lore here is going to be page 65. There we go. The coffee thermos on the loading dock behind the sheriff's station is another example of sloppy police work. Wake's prints all over the radio, because we're about to touch it. But no one's thought to ask the warehouse guys where their morning refreshments went. And what the hell is Wake doing with all these thermoses? Eating them? I mean, if this is kind of a Willy Wonka place, sure, we could be eating them, but who knows?
Well, folks, it's been another long night, and it's about time for me to sign off for a while. God knows I need my beauty sleep. Just one more item before I go. It's been a busy night for the sheriff's department. We've had a few broken windows, even a report of shots fired on Main Street. Deputies Mulligan and Thornton had to deal with two intoxicated young men who were celebrating the completion of their Deer Fest float. Now, folks, we get this every year. I know it's exciting, the big day's almost here, but let's save it for the party and leave the gunplay for the shooting competition, huh? There's no point in getting all worked up yet.
So last time someone asked why that seems like Pat's up all night. Well, yeah, he hosts the graveyard shift at the radio station. So there is a daytime host at this radio station, which in the game never shows up, but in the survival guide is mentioned quite a few times. Anyways, so the tune right here that's playing is Shady Grove by the band Among the Oak and Ash. Sorry. So if we were to go through the lyrics, this one's basically just another tune about binding yourself to an individual, the memory of love, and the desire for reunification. So it's just another theme over and over again. Jump! What the hell kind of a jump is that, Alan? Maybe that's why he's not very athletic, because he just looks weird when he does anything. Let's see if I can get a good image of it. I mean, if you need that kind of a wind-up just to get 6 inches off the ground, you need to get some leg work done.
The kidnapper fired his gun one last time, and the shadow vanished into the darkness it had come from. See? Nothing to it, Wake. The thought of Alice in his hands was revolting. We stood on the wooden platform of Lover's Peak, the waterfall on the mountain behind us, the lights of the radio mast blinking red in the heights above. I fought with the urge to take a swing, force myself to speak. Let's cut the act now. Where's my wife?
More just some foreshadowing here. I have not played Catherine Woomby, but I have seen some gameplay from it. Alrighty.
Alice's driver's license had been placed on the front seat. The caller meant business.
Alright, so I know I've already shown this off out of order. I wasn't supposed to show it yet, but we have a close-up of her driver's license. So let's go take a look at that real fast. On page 63. And apparently they live on Dunwich. The street Dunwich. Because, you know, they have to have more Lovecraft references.
Barry?
Ow! Ow! Thank God! Where the hell have you been? I've been trying to reach you for a week, you and Alice. Oh, I've been worried sick. I flew out yesterday. I'm here in Bright Falls.
Barry, listen to me. I'm at the sheriff's station. Come and get me. I can't talk now.
Ow! What the hell is going on?
I had to get the sheriff to let me go. I needed to get to Elderwood National Park to meet Alice's kidnappers.
No, not Silent Hill, Flarouge. It's the Dunwich Horror. It's a Lovecraft story. Very popular one. You sleep well there, young man.
A writer is a light that reveals the world of his story from darkness, shapes it from nothingness. The way a sculptor carves a statue from a block of granite. If I stop, the world I'm making dies. Darkness will reclaim it. It's a long, hard journey into the dark. Alice's life is at stake, but I can't think about that, or I'll lose it. The dread lingers at the edge of perception. I'll push on. Anything is possible here. I'll write the story. I'll save her.
Well, okay then. And I love the imagery they show here about taking like a raw block of granite and trying to carve a statue out of it, because technically the potential for everything exists within that block of granite. You just cut away everything that is not the piece of art, which is very much like the dark. You could argue the granite is the dark place, where everything exists within it. It just hasn't been formed yet. But there is also another cool thing about sculptors, but we won't talk about that until we get to the lodge, because there is a patient there, which we never get a chance to see, who happens to be a sculptor.
Marvelous, Sarah. I just wanted to settle all the damage the Anderson brothers might have inadvertently caused on their recent and regrettable little outing. They are not accountable for their actions, of course. I can assure you that my staff has been reprimanded.
Tor and Odin never caused any trouble to anyone when they were still living at their farm.
Indeed. All we can do is to slow down the progress of their dementia.
Brick 'em,
Are you
yes.
feeling any better, Mr. Wake?
I'd like to leave. Am I free to go?
Well, we still need to talk about...
Am I under arrest?
No, of course not. But I need to know where you'll be staying so I can get in touch with you.
I'd avoid the motel. The Majestic is known for its roaches. The cabins at Elderwood are pretty nice, though.
That sounds perfect.
I'm Dr. Emil Hartman. I'd like to invite you to stay at Cauldron Lake Lodge.
Did you talk to my wife?
I had the pleasure of discussing your situation with her on several occasions.
Did you set something up with her?
I invited her here. My clinic is a place where...
Oh!
Hey!
Oh, my!
Take it easy.
Hey, nobody move!
The
Get
goat!
your hands off of my client!
Who are you?
I'm Barry Wheeler, his agent. If you have business with Mr. Wake, you talk to me. You yokels won't know what hit you once I sick my lawyers on your asses.
No harm done, Sarah. I'm all right. I don't want to press charges. Mr. Wake, my offer still stands.
Get me out of here.
I don't know. I haven't read a lot of Stephen King, so Ichiro, is the Majestic
What the hell
something
was
specific
that
to him?
about, Al? We don't need a replay of that thing with the paparazzi. I thought they were gonna lock you up.
That's because Barry is a Chad Woombie.
I had to talk.
All right, real quick. So before I play this scene, I mentioned it earlier, but when at the end of episode 1, when Alan calls the sheriff and they come get him, remember in the novel what he did is he hid the gun and all the ammunition he got in the store in the gas station before they picked him up, because it made him look. They're like, if they catch me right now with a freaking loaded weapon, they're gonna have some questions for me. So he hid it there. Before, while they're driving, the first stop they go to is they go back to Stucky's gas station, and Barry drives them there to pick up the firearm, so that by the time we get to here, we have the weapon back when we didn't have it before. Even though, again, that's in the novel only, which is non-canon, I like the idea, so I am going to accept that as at least headcanon.
To someone. I told Barry everything. He thought I was certifiable, but when he heard about the manuscript, I had him. The fact that I'd written something, even if I couldn't remember it, was enough for him. He smelled money. And he believed that Alice had been kidnapped. Anything beyond that was another story. I had a midnight appointment with the kidnapper in a place called Lover's Peak, somewhere in Elderwood National Park. The plan was to rent a cabin.
I don't like it, Al. I don't like any of it. It's not good. In fact, it's the absolute opposite of good.
Mr. Wake! Barry, you found him.
Hi, Rose.
Oh, wow. I was just thinking about you, too.
Great.
I was just bringing Rusty some coffee. He's on the balcony, looking after Max. Poor thing. I really need to go. Great to see you again, Mr. Wake. Later!
Down, Barry.
Who's Max?
Barry clearly has a thing for Barry. That is so true. All right, before we get into all our Barry's... What's the word I want to use for that? Intervention here. Okay, so there is some stuff we have to read. Remember I mentioned in the first stream when we were in the Nightmare that there was a New York Tattler piece where there's like a tabloid piece about Alan, and the guy was talking crap on the 5th book in the series, which may have caused him to want to end the series because of how scathing it was. Well, there is another tabloid piece by the exact same guy we can go read right now. So this is going to be on page 121. There we go. Wait, is it 121? Did I say 121? Crap, I wrote it down wrong. How did I write this down wrong? Nope, not that one. Shoot. I think I messed up. So, tabloid piece. Oh, it's in the Alan Wake files. Sorry, it's not here. Alan Wake files. So it's on page 121 here. 105, 107, 111. Here we go. Crime author has own police intrigue. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom in. So this is the New York Tattler, January 14th, 2006. All right, by Chris McGurk. This is the guy right here. This McGurk is a total jerk and probably derailed Alan's life by all the crap. He has like 3 articles talking shit on him. Anyways, this one right here. Alan Wake, the author of the newly minted crime thriller The Sudden Stop, provided some thrills of his own. Wait. He published... Hold on. I need to verify something, because that one was published in 2008, and they're saying that this is from 2006. Let me see. Newly minted. The author of the newly minted crime thriller The Sudden Stop provided some thrills of his own Friday night. A warrant has been issued for his arrest after the alleged assault on Gazette photographer Peter Validson, which includes the charge of leaving the scene of the crime. According to Validson, Wake drove the camera into my frickin' eye with a closed fist while Validson attempted to take a picture after the gala cocktail party to celebrate the publication of the book. No, the game's set in 2010, Zachary. I think that might just be an error, because we know the book was published in 2008, and they're saying that this article is from 2006, which cannot be true. So it's probably just they meant to say 2008. Doesn't matter. Okay. I was taking pictures, no harm, said Validson. That's what photographers do. He should know. His own wife is a photographer. Photographer Alice Wake was apparently not at the scene of the incident. She was reached by telephone later, but refused to comment. Her exhibit inflammatory opens... Wait, what? Oh, sorry. There's just no space there. Her exhibit inflammatory opens at the Baboff Gallery in Chelsea on March 21st. So this kind of tells us that Alice was doing her own thing, and she had her own art exhibit from her photography. Even though I think in Alan Wake 2, she made the assertion that she wasn't really doing her own thing. Well, this says she kind of was doing her own thing, but maybe she was talking about not as much as she would like. Anyways. All right. Wake was no longer at the scene when the police arrived. New NYPD issued the warrant and charges of assault and battery. He got out of there pretty fast after it happened, Validson said. He yelled at me, something like, "Party's over, moron." He slams the thing right into my eye. He didn't have to yell. Validson posed for reporters while being questioned by the police, pointing to the unquestionably ugly and swollen bruise surrounding his eye socket. Wake's representative, Barry Wheeler, issued a statement that morning on Wake's behalf and answered some questions posed to him by reporters shortly afterward. The statement read, Alan Wake regrets the misunderstanding that occurred at the Sudden Stop gala last night. He would like to reiterate his gratitude to and appreciation for all of his readers, and trust that they will enjoy reading Sudden Stop as much as he enjoyed writing it. Such misunderstandings are common when the private activity of writing meets with the public activity of book promotion. When asked if Wake would turn himself in, Wheeler responded with some evasiveness, "Al's a straight-up guy. He'll do the right thing." Impressed about what the right thing was, Wheeler replied, It's unclear at this point who actually did the assaulting. A camera with an exploding flashbulb right in your face can be pretty shocking. I've almost had a heart attack because of some of your paparazzi pals before. I'm not saying Alan even touched the guy, but you've got to understand, it might have just been a startled instinct. He's literally just trying to gaslight them. We know what Alan did. He totally did it. Anyways, when asked if it was Wheeler himself who whisked Wake away after the incident, he had no comment. It was him, all right, Vilson claimed. The roly-poly guy, I was only half blinded, was definitely him. This was not Wake's first brush with the law. According to public records, and battery in particular seems to be a trend. Minneapolis police arrested an Alan Wake with a similar description for public drunkenness and battery in 1998. Charges of disorderly conduct and battery were filed, though the battery charges were dropped. In West Hollywood, a year later, the charges were filed and dropped in West Hollywood a year later. Neither incident resulted in jail time. So this is in 98. This is when he was like, what, 20? Because he was born in 79. So yeah, he was like 19 years old. Jesus. So he would have been 19 underage at the time, too. Or he wasn't at the legal drinking age. So he's had a problem for a long time, and it's not necessarily related to his writer's block. Well, okay then. He was born in 77. Let me double check, because I thought it was 79. Give me a second. Let me pull it up just to make sure. I may be misremembering that. No. Yeah, no, he was born in 1977. I do take that back, so he was 21. You're correct, Marama. Thank you for clarifying there. All right, and let's head on back.
Jeez, Mr. Takes a swing at everybody. This is not her fault. She's a very nice girl and, more importantly, a fan.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you, Melissa. Alan's mom, since she was in and out of psychiatric facilities his entire childhood, and with no father, he had a very unstable life. So it wouldn't surprise me that he had substance abuse issues just right off the bat. Alright, so there's an advert for the ranger station I wanted to pull up real quick that I find kind of interesting. So let's pause and head over to page 69. And no one make any 69 jokes. Wait, where is it? Where is it? There we go. Alrighties. So, Elderwood National Park visitor brochure. Now, most of this is just typical stuff like, hey, I'm Ranger Rusty, blah, 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 blah. Here's our gift shop. We have some hand-carved grizzlies, some Bucktooth Charlie plushies, a little copy of the hat, some saplings if you want to park it. Alrighties, but the interesting thing is here at the cafe, if you want the elk burger, the spicy cauldron stew, the moonshine lemonade, which honestly, if that's spiked lemonade, $2 is a freaking steal. I'm just saying. But I think is really cool is the Oh Dear Diner Large, the Oh Dear Diner Extra Large, and if you purchase a $100 coffee thermos, you get 100 refills. Kind of like we have 100 collectible thermoses throughout the whole thing. So you basically get $100 of coffee for the full thermos. I'd say that's a win. But why specifically 100 refills? See, like, little stuff like this, even though it's probably nothing, I find it really odd that we have the number of collectibles reflected in the number of refills you get. Anyways, let's get back in. Sounds like good lemonade. Oh my gosh, my buddy had some blueberry moonshine once because his dad used to sell spirits for liquor stores around here. That was his whole job. He worked with suppliers and sold them to things like grocery stores and liquor stores. And he got us this blueberry moonshine. Oh my god, it was so good. Anyways. So there's a couple other things before we can continue onwards. In the survival guide, they mentioned that that Rusty leaves treats all around the ranger station so that visitors can feed Max, which is just adorable. It's also confirmed that Max is Rusty's personal dog, and not just one that he found around here. And in the scene when Barry and Alan meet up with Rose just now before they enter the ranger station, Rose makes a really weird joke that in the novel, saying that it's almost like they are caught up in a Night Springs vortex in the context of Alice going missing. And then when they ask her about it, she kind of just leaves. Maybe she knows more than she's letting on, but who knows? The skeleton of a Columbian mammoth, Mammothus columbi. This specimen, estimated to be 14,000 years old, was recovered from the La Brea tar pits in 1981. It was donated to the Elderwood National Park in 1998 when the Columbian mammoth became Washington State fossil. Named Bucktooth Charlie, it has since become the park's official mascot. Yeah, Zoe's right here. She's just sleeping. And she's trying to steal my hand. Okay, let's see if I can play one-handed for a second. Alright, so we've got a little dinosaur leading up to current stuff. Now, this is an interesting piece right here.
Seriously, Al, what you were saying in the car? Just listen to yourself. What, you shot a guy and his body just disappeared? When was the last time you slept? What, are you high? Have you been drinking?
No! Look, Barry, I'm missing a week, and someone's got Alice.
Do you
and
understand
everything's just...
what it sounds like when you say stuff like that? Don't get me wrong, it's a good story, could be a bestseller. But when you start confusing fiction with reality, you're buying yourself a ticket to the funny farm.
Wait here.
Okay. So I want to read this sign real quick, because I find it very kind of funny. So you guys probably don't remember the name Lorna Miles. So Lorna doesn't show up in the game until episode 3. But she is the one when Alan gets to the radio station and she calls into Pat and she's just basically, oh, all those people up at the trailer park, you know, just let them handle themselves. My family's been here for 150 years and weird that Blue Blood's here and they're all riffraffs, so screw them. Who gives a shit? Like, you remember the call that, and Pat's just like, okay, you're kind of being a bitch, right? Ichiro said something that might be important. Just thought of something. What if moonshine is the same stuff Old Gods of Agar's make? Does coffee have... Oh, no. Moonshine is definitely what the Old Gods make. Does coffee have the cauldron-like water? People microdosing Elgic water unknowingly? I'll say no on that one, but yes on the moonshine. Because we don't see any other effects when it comes to the coffee. But anyways, so that's Lorna Miles. So this thing on Deer is also written by Lorna Miles for whatever reason. She wrote this little info tabloid about Deer, which is kind of funny because I don't know why they would allow this to go up. It says, nuisances, every one of them. They utterly ruin my tulips every spring. I tried dousing my garden in cougar urine, but nothing keeps them away, and they only come early morning too, so I don't even manage to catch them in the act. But when I finally do, I'll get my rifle loaded with buckshot and get ready to go. The problem is the population. There are just too many of them. Last summer, my husband was driving back home from Watery after dark and a whole herd of them were just sitting in the road. He drove right into a tree trying to avoid them. The doctor said he could have died, plus it ruined our truck. These things are more dangerous than bears. You can quote me on that. It's like, why would you allow... First of all, Lorna's kind of... she's kind of a dildo. But why would you let her write this here? Like, you're supposed to be getting tourists and visitors to go, oh, that's cool, instead of, oh my god, deers are horrible. Yeah, she's just a Karen. That's basically Lorna. Ice Age exhibit, Cascade Range, Habit Camper, Lodge, fishing stuff, Bright Falls cuisine. She must make big donations to the park. That wouldn't surprise me. Cougar, it's a puma. Just so you guys know, there's no such thing as a puma. That's like, I don't know, unicorns or dragons. It's not a puma. Or warthogs. Those aren't real. Please, someone get the reference. Anyways, majestic creatures. If you ever spotted a cougar in the woods, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. For such a big cat, they move like they're made of air. Like physics don't even matter to them. Just amazing to watch. I don't recommend that people get too close, though, and make sure you stay aware of your surroundings when you're hiking or camping. Cougars will see you long before you see them. Park Ranger Rusty. Thank you, EMD and Jeremy. Yes, red versus blue. YouTube Trailblazer. Damn it, Griff! Alright, grizzly bears. It happened while I was fishing. This one's done by Doc Nelson. It happened while I was fishing at my usual spot. This one actually I think is really cool. I stayed out later than I meant to. Sun was already going down. Suddenly, this large animal lumbers out of the woods on the far bank. A grizzly and a big one. You don't see a lot of grizzlies around here. Mostly black bears. They're not so bad. More scared of you than you are of them, but grizzlies are a whole nother thing altogether. I froze, of course. I've treated a few maulings in my life, so I know the kind of damage those things can do. Started reeling my line in, hoping to get out of there fast. The grizzly noticed me, though. Looks right at me. Now, I've got a few trout already in my basket, and I could tell the grizzly was smelling an easy meal. It started getting into the river, heading my way. I thought I was going to have to run for it in my waders, but then the bear stopped. Looked like it was sniffing at the air. Whatever it smelled spooked the devil out of it, and it bolted back the way it come. Gave me a good fright, that's for sure. So, what did the bear notice from an animal instincts that caused it to just run? Animals know. Yeah, it probably encountered something. And Nelson might have been saved because the bear made him leave as well. So who freaking knows? Okay. So I'm checking off a few things. All right. Like birds avoiding flying over the lake. Yeah, something like that. Didn't it smell the dark presence from the lake or something? I mean, it's possible, bats. It wouldn't surprise me. And coffee thermos, meaning we gotta go do some coffee lore. Okay, so this one is thermos number 18 on page 69 again, actually. So we're right here. There we go. Rose must have left this thermos on the kitchen pass-through for Rusty. Her visit to the center coincided with Wake's arrival. Perhaps she's the coffee thermos culprit. I might be getting somewhere. No, I think you're just making stuff up, dude. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just checking off a few things. And let's head on back. Chug some coffee. I don't have any coffee on me. Honestly, me and caffeine are not the best of friends. But yeah, I've actually never stopped and read this before my most recent run-through while I was getting ready for this presentation. So I was like, what the hell? Like, any of these I never actually looked at. I thought it's cool.
Easy there, boy. I'm almost done.
Hey, Rusty, right? You run cabins.
Oh, Mr. Wake. I'd shake your hand, but mine are kind of full here. Actually, I'm sorry about this. Would you mind grabbing the registration form from the desk? It's just across from Bucktooth Charlie.
Okay, sure. What happened?
Crazy poachers. Max here got his foot caught in a trap. They're illegal to use here. Hell, you're not supposed to hunt within the park at all. But that doesn't stop some lowlifes. Well, at least Max is gonna be okay. He got lucky. Max is still groggy from the shot I gave him, and I'd rather not leave him alone just yet. The form's on the desk across from the mammoth skeleton.
It's kind of sad, but Max is definitely in pain.
Okay, boy. We're almost done here.
See what I did there? Oh, no, trust me. I do drink coffee, just not this late in the day. I will, like, it's at the point... Let's do this first.
Go and meet a kidnapper? Those situations always end up in disaster. You gotta talk to the cops.
She's my wife, and it's my call. Can we talk about this later?
No. This whole thing is... Listen, you hit your head. I mean, geez, Al, come on. You gotta understand how crazy all this sounds. If you're trying to pull a joke on me, freak me out, it's working. Ha ha, let's have a laugh on Barry. Well, you had me going there real funny, Al. You can quit it now.
Okay, hold on. Let me scroll back up because I did see a question I wanted to respond to. Does the game ever talk about if there are any animals living within the Caldera Lake, like fish, for example? I don't think we've ever seen animals, to be perfectly honest. I can almost guarantee we'll see some reference to Barry in the sequel in Control Resonant. But yeah, I saw your comment, Marama. I actually wrote it down to look into later regarding a bit closer to heaven.
I think this is the form you wanted.
And here are the keys. Okay, you're all set, Mr. Wake. Glad to have you staying here.
Thanks. Can you tell me how to get to Lover's Peak?
Oh, sure. It's at the end of the nature trail. Just follow the paths, you'll get to it eventually. It's an easy walk. Nice spot, too. If you have any trouble finding it, just keep your eyes on the radio mast. It's right below that. Oh, and hey, if you take a walk in the woods, watch your steps so you don't end up like Max.
Don't even put that voodoo out there, Trailblazer.
We got a bunch of campers out there we haven't heard from. It's not like these people are on a schedule, but with the traps, well, you know. I just don't want any trouble.
Right, thanks.
I mean, we know Barry's with the Blessed Organization at the moment. Granted, he doesn't really know what they're up to. But we'll talk about this in a little bit, but let's just say that Barry has a lot of contacts that we're unaware of, and I mean, like, he's got resources. They don't really cover exactly what he can do in the game, but in the survival guide and other sources, oh yeah. Barry's a good friend to have.
Look, Al, you're asking me to believe that you shot a dude who went poof into thin air, a guy who was bulletproof until you pointed a flashlight at him. You hear that from people who end up spending time in padded rooms, strapped to their beds, wearing white shirts with too long tangled up sleeves, and eating a healthy diet of pills. Al, you make cruel jokes about people who believe that kind of stuff. You're the skeptic. You gave me an hour-long lecture on homeopathy last month. What was it? If there's no proof, it's pure bullshit. Period.
Guess the laugh's on me then.
Al, come on! I mean, okay. Okay, maybe something weird happened to you, okay?
Well, thanks for the heartfelt vote of confidence.
All I'm saying is you gotta throw me a bone here, bestseller. What would you think if it was me? There's no way you should be going out at midnight with a gun.
No one asked you to come here, Barry. Either work with me on this or go straight back to New York. Your choice.
Yeah, so we did get confirmation that, I don't know if Alan set things up, but he made sure that Barry was not in New York. I think he's in California right now, like Los Angeles, because something was coming and he wanted to make sure he was out of the way.
That's just crazy talk, Al. Al? Al? We should go to the sheriff or call the FBI.
Damn it, Barry, they'll kill her!
Poor Lamp.
This is not a goddamn debate, Barry. I'm going to Lover's Peak. He said to come alone.
Okay, okay then. I understand. You're my best friend and I'm worried that you're not right in the head. Tell me what to do to help and I'll do it.
You stay here, and if I'm not back by morning, call the cavalry.
Alright, so there's a little thing in the novel here, which, again, non-canon, but I found it kind of cool. So when they got here in this cabin long before nightfall, so Alan was able to get some sleep. He grabbed a quick cat nap, and while he was asleep, he had a dream about Alice in an abandoned city. She keeps walking further and further away from him, and then off to the side there's a newspaper on the ground. He picks it up, and for some reason it's written in a language that he can't read. And that's really the full details of the dream. Granted, who knows if we take it seriously, but it doesn't interfere with anything, so why not?
Just be careful with the natives, Al. These yokels are dangerous. Everybody hates a tourist, or it'll be Deliverance all over again. Achoo!
Bless you.
Oh, this place is trying to kill me. I'll bet there's mold in here, spores, poison ivy, God knows what. This is so not worth a 15% commission. You wanna know where you can shove that flashlight?
Oh, I'm sorry, Barry.
Lock the door when I leave.
Yep, you go ahead and do what you have to do. I'll be fine. Alone, but fine. In a cabin straight from a horror movie.
Really? You guys said bless you to the guy who's under Chester Bless now? No.
Watch where you point that thing, Al.
Sounds a lot like the dream Nicole Kidman had from Eyes Wide Shut about Tom Cruise. I honestly haven't seen the film, but I know enough about it. I didn't realize it's possible.
Stop it, Al! Stop it! You're giving me a migraine, Al. You know I'm useless with a migraine.
Me too, buddy. Actually, that's not true. I still go to work even if I have a migraine. No rest for the wicked, I guess. You gonna say anything? Okay. Thermos lore. Let's do this. Okay, so that's gonna be. Actually, before we do that, we'll do 2 in one go because the thermos is right around the corner too. He doesn't make his comment about the Gru. Come on, Barry. So he makes an odd comment about being eaten by a Gru, which can either be a reference to Zork or a book series called the Dying Light series. Which, I'm going to go with the latter just because it has to deal with a similar theme, but anyways. And Thermos number 20. Okay, let's do both of these in the same go. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be on page 70 and 70. The coffee thermos in the kitchen counter inside Rusty's cabin adds weight to the theory that the waitress was somehow involved in this wild goose chase. But placing the thermoses in the woods? She needs accomplices. God, why couldn't I have a nice, easy murder case to solve? Could I tell you a bedtime story? Oh, boy. Well, I can tell you about an FBI agent tracking down, coffee thermoses. Let's see. Another coffee thermos at Rusty's cabin. Sorry, no. The one on the hot tub. He must have one mighty coffee addiction, although Cooper, back in Seattle, postulates he's smitten with Rose, and is spreading all the thermoses out as markers indicating where he's visited, and when he's thought about Rose, but Cooper had some way out theories in the past. Wait, so Coffee Guy knows an FBI agent Cooper based out of Seattle? Yes, we just have to have a Twin Peaks reference in here. And guess what? That's not the only Twin Peaks reference that Coffee Thermos Guy comes across. Get your coffee mugs ready. We'll have to just go through it, I guess. Now, one thing I want to point out real quick is this rock right here. There's nothing on it right now. I want that noted, because next time we come here, there will be something there, which means somebody came here after we walked away. Or the story just decided now's the time for it. Have yet to watch Twin Peaks, but I do say cherry pie and coffee are great together. Zoe, what are you doing? So the cat decided to sit right in front of the monitor.
Here, Al. I'll hold down the fort. I'll be with you in spirit every step of the way, Al. Walk through the door now.
And Barry has the keys, so we can't take the truck.
Barry had never gotten along with Alice, but he knew Alan loved her with an almost frightening intensity. And now something had happened to Alice. And here was Al armed with a gun and saying things people got put in padded cells for. It was as if his friend had experienced a massive psychotic episode and was now totally disconnected from reality. It scared the shit out of Barry.
Sorry, the cat has stolen my hand for a second. Making you want to binge Twin Peaks again. Oh, trust me, there's a lot of random reference to it in this coffee thermos thing, which is just weird to me. That's where they throw the most overt stuff. Okay, let's just go down.
I knew I should have gone to the cops. This wasn't the smartest thing I'd ever done, but I was still angry with Barry for trying to talk me out of it. These people had called me right in the sheriff's station. The cops wouldn't scare them, and they had Alice.
No, Ravens. I don't want you there. Is it time to view that page, Dean? The one you said to remind you of? What was I talking about, James? Because I do not recall. Manuscripts. Oh, yeah, not yet. Not yet. We will when we go a little bit further down, but we will read it in a second.
Welcome back to the show, folks. As promised, our very
Thank you for reminding me,
Dr.
though.
Nelson has just parked his rear end of the studio. Doc, what's your Deerfest plan like?
My plan? You make it sound a lot more organized than I ever seem to manage. No plan, really. Just taking the atmosphere. I'm getting a little too rickety to do much more than that, you know.
Oh, tell me about it. No sack race for us older gentlemen, huh?
Yes, exactly, Pat. But I'm going to check out the parade, of course. And I'll be one of the pie contest judges, too.
Well, that takes a different kind of constitution.
Oh, yeah. It's my kind of exercise.
Now, Doc, seriously, you're in pretty good shape, though. You're the outdoors type. I know for a fact you're an avid fisherman.
That's right. Matter of fact, just caught a heck of a largemouth bass early this morning.
But you're not taking part in the fishing contest?
No, not this year. See, Pat, I'm just not that competitive anymore. Now I just like to take my time and enjoy the peace of it. It's no fun if I need to worry about what I'm catching, you know?
Well, considering your track record, the participants are probably pretty happy you feel that way.
Well, Pat, that's kind of you to say.
Thank you for reminding me, Traditional Jeffrey. I didn't look around for the taken out the window. Alright, so this tune we have playing right here is called The Beaten Side of Town by Barry Adamson. And roughly the lyrics have to do with being trapped in a dream city with apocalyptic visions all around and trying to escape from it. I'm thinking Noir York City, personally. But also, if we're going to accept the novel's dream, the dream that Alan literally just had about chasing Alice through a abandoned apocalyptic city. Most likely, Noir York. Between Alan Wake and Control, there's some kind of bass mentioned to everyone so far where, yeah, you got a singing fish. It flies around and sings devil sounds. You love how even things most people won't actually pay attention to look up are relevant. Usually, every single tune on the radio here is directly relevant, which I find really freaking cool. I love the wind chime here. You know, we don't have enough wind chimes anymore on houses. Personally, I think we should do more. I love how hitting a tire swing literally shakes all of reality. No, because that's one thing I always said. Okay, Cat, Zoe. You can sit on my lap if you want. Come here. Come on. Come on, sweetie. I just don't want you sitting on the keyboard and messing up the gameplay. But yeah, I like the wind chimes, and personally, I've always had, like, dream catchers, too. I've always enjoyed just the look of them. Okay. Elderwood Moonshine Cave. Oh my god, let's go get some moonshine. Alright, we're gonna have quite a few things to read in here. Uh-oh. Boom! You just that raven just clipped through the door. You teleported through the door, you weirdo. Okay, so we've got a bottle of wine here and blood on the floor. Something happened in here. Looks like there was a disturbance in this house, but we have no clue what caused it. The light fixture is torn off the wall and is no longer functioning. The windows are broken out. Yeah. There's a story here that we're not privy to. Most likely someone was taken inside this building. Anyways, you guys ready for the boob tube?
Crime and punishment. The cancer and cure of civilization. But some crimes are impossible to punish, especially in Night Springs. Tonight's episode, The Man in the Mirror.
He's inside, Agent. He's a weird one.
Have you not heard that expression, Blue Cat, the boob tube?
So, you're confessing to killing that guy, huh?
Slang for television?
And it coming? Yeah, but why would you do that? I mean, you're a nice guy. Normal. Took a kid to a soccer game. So how come at the game, you pick a guy and, quoting from the arresting officer's report here, assault the victim's head area repeatedly with the weapon of choice being a...
Keep your eye on the suspect's shirt.
That sentence really flows, huh? Maybe you're not the literary type. Okay, so you mess him up. But why? Who was that guy? We couldn't ID him. Why would a guy like you do him like that?
I didn't like his face?
Well, you must have hated it, because you really went to town there. I mean, there's no way to tell what he looked like. No ID on him either.
That must be difficult.
But then we ran the fingerprints. Got a match. Your prints. Identical.
Huh, how about that?
Your son said you were wearing a white shirt when you took him to the game. But the white shirt is on the dead guy.
It's plenty red.
I am awake.
You won't get away with this.
Do you really think that's in any way relevant to me? I had plenty of time to talk to my boy before the cops arrived, you know? He won't stop screaming, am I right? You think he's ever gonna be okay? I left my mark. Believe me.
You bastard.
What? You gonna shoot me? What's the point? I'm going to prison. You got me.
I don't understand any of this.
And you never will. Don't worry. Maybe you'll see me again, Agent. Maybe in the mirror.
Yeah, personally, I'm not a fan of open world games because it's really hard to have a cohesive narrative, or at least a well-paced narrative with open world. So, like, that's mostly why I'm not really a fan of them. But anyway, so we have a discrepancy here, possibly. Unless we just accept that the teletime stuff. So let's switch over to the survival guide real quick, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, Zoe, you got to be able to shift so I can see what's going on. Okay, Zoe, I literally can't see the page right now. So according to the teletimes here, this episode, move your head, the second episode of... Okay, Zoe, come on. You're sitting right in front of that part of the screen. Oh, I know, you're not happy with me. Sit on my lap and I'll give you all the love. The second episode of America's Oddity Night Springs. This evening episode, The Man in the Mirror, takes place in Rusty's number 3 cabin in Elderwood. It says that it's aired in March 4th, 1994. Now, the issue with that... Hold on. Is that at that point in time, Alan would have been, what, 17 years old? And he hadn't started working with Night Springs at that point in time. So he couldn't have written an episode, even though there's a direct reference to him in the episode. And it's directly the kind of themes that he plays around with the light side and the dark half of the human psyche. So I'm just going to go off on a limb and say most likely that those dates are not accurate from the survival guide. Because otherwise we'd have to make the claim that that episode wasn't written by Alan, which makes no sense to me. But besides that, does anyone else get the idea of American Nightmare's Mr. Scratch when watching that episode? Because you have the evil doppelganger that shows up, kills the original, and takes his place. Like, legitimate, like, it's the same story. Which I find... it's possible that when he went to go work on the Herald of Darkness episode of Night Springs for American Nightmare, he kind of was inspired by, loosely, this episode right here. Tale as old as times. Yeah, it's pretty much true. Okay, so we have one thing I want to read here. It's one of the missing manuscript pages from the Alan Wake files. And the reason I think it is important is because we don't know what happened in this room. It looks like it's been destroyed. We've got blood on the ground. So this is a good set piece to read it. Let's go take a look. Okay. So this is going to be in the Alan Wake files. And let's scroll up to read the lost manuscript pages. Where are you? Oh my gosh, how much of this do we have? There we go. So which one was this? All right, this one right here. So while this is not, actually, this actually might be it. Now, I'm not saying this is what happened, but it's possible that what happened on this manuscript page is the reason why this particular cabin is damaged in this way. Nothing to cover herself but the shadows that overwhelmed her. She reached for the light switch in desperation. She cringed and crossed her arms across her chest, hugging her own body close, bracing for the onslaught. Squeezing her eyes shut, she shuddered as she felt the darkness fill her, chasing away every hope, attacking even her memory of her own identity. The alarm of the invasion caused her to cry out involuntarily, which only sped the inevitable. Her descent into despair hurtled like a pitch-black boulder thrown down a dark mine shaft. Her cries came out in a muffled, choking sounds. In her ears, she could hear what sounded like a monsoon crashing into its devastation inside the cabin. Outside, there was near silence. The elderly couple who walked by heard nothing of the internal storm that raged only a few yards away. "It's cold," said the old woman. The old woman said to her husband, "Suddenly, very cold." Her gray curls shook as she shivered. The old man smiled. "You're always cold," he said. There did seem to be an extra breeze through the forest. He slipped his jacket off and put it over her shoulders, thinking he was rescuing the nearest damsel in distress. And the entire idea, she reached for the light switch, was now broken off of it. I'm wondering if that scene literally took place inside this cabin. What do you guys think? I don't know, it's really the only, like, I didn't think about it in those terms until just now. I was going to read it here regardless because it was a nice set piece, but now that I'm reading it, it makes perfect sense. It specified a cabin, not a house, because if this was in one of, like, the city streets, they would have said in my home, but no, specifically in the cabin. But anyways... let's head onwards. Alright, so this is the manuscript that I accidentally read prematurely.
The air in the visitor center was heavy with an awful smell, as if some rotten drowned thing had crawled up from its grave. Rusty kept coughing blood. My eyes were drawn to the twisted shape of his broken leg. The attack had been vicious. Max whined in his cage. Rusty's eyes were wild with fear and terror. He gasped. Mr. Wake, it happened just the way it was on that page.
And we're getting some bad foreshadowing. Do not feed the wildlife. $100 penalty. This really is a nice spot right here, I'm not gonna lie.
Rose knew that Rusty was in love with her, and she liked him too. She liked him a lot. He taught her to dance, and life had certainly taught her the value of a man who was gentle. He treated her well, made her smile, made her feel good. But Rusty wasn't the prince of her dreams, and that tended to underline the unbearable truth. She was no closer to that Hollywood magic than he was.
Well, James, the reason why a lot of the times in these kind of places they tell you don't feed the wildlife is because pretty soon the wildlife will learn, hey, I can go get free food over here, and if you get them young enough, they'll start forgetting how to get their, like, feed themselves. Because they'll just show up in the place where people are at, and then never learn how to properly hunt for themselves. Plus, we generally feed them empty carbs and stuff, so it doesn't really help them.
Vision left me weak. This was no head injury.
Rusty, hang on! I'm coming! Please, help me!
I'm a biologist, also most of our food is toxic. Very true, Bomb. Isn't it sad that we consume poison just because it tastes really good? Hold on, Rusty. I'm looting. We're gonna do two thermoses at the same time. Okay. Two thermoses. Let's swap on over. Alrighty, so these are going to be on pages 75 and 75. Okay, there we go. Remember, we got an Agent Cooper to worry about now, too. A thermos in the storage shed of the visitor center. What was the line? Nothing but black coffee under a thin layer of skin. Looked like Rusty wasn't kidding about that coffee habit, although one theory is that he'd hoard more than he needed just to see that Rose's sweet face. I'm just curious why the FBI agent would know this line right here. Because that was said with only Alan, Rusty, the old gods, Cynthia, and Rose in the room. And by the time the FBI agent came out here, presumably Rusty was already killed. So why would he know specifically that line? Anyways. Another thermos at the foot of a tree behind the park ranger office. Is this some kind of giant hide-and-seek game? A distraction from Wake's main adventure? I'm sending the request for head office to check where this job lot of thermoses was bought from. Then we'll get some answers. Yeah, because you have to think where has to be a supply line for where these thermoses came from. So he's like, let's track them down. Anyways, maybe it's actually a joke several people say about him. I mean, it's possible.
The visitor center was sturdy, but the impact turned the front of the building into splinters. Rusty was thrown across the lobby like a rag doll and hit the far wall hard. It didn't hurt until he tried to move and saw his leg bend the wrong way. Felt the broken ribs stabbing him on the inside. Rusty howled in pain and fear, suddenly afraid to die alone.
Didn't Control mention something about wanting to know who made them or something like that? I don't know if they mentioned who made them, but it was more they acknowledged it as an altered item that would alter the quality of a coffee when poured into one of these thermoses.
Hello? Back here. I'm back here. Hey, please help me.
Charlie, was this you?
I'm here.
Mr. Wake?
Oh, hell.
It happened just the way it was on that page. I found came true. It knew. So dark. It'll come back for me. You must... The lights. In the office. I have the key.
Okay, Rusty. Hang on. I'll be right back. Whatever did this couldn't be far. Rusty had found a page from the manuscript. It would help me understand what had happened.
And I love that I take his weapon from him. He's like, sorry, I need this ammo more than you do right now.
The only way to make sure that Rusty was safe was to get the power running and the lights back on. At the last instant, I changed direction and threw myself down. The axe splintered the trunk of a tree. I stumbled into the pool of bright light. My lungs burned. I was too exhausted to move. I tensed as I waited for the killing blow, but it never came. I raised my head. Nothing moved in the darkness beyond. For the moment, bathed in the cold light, I was safe.
Oh yeah, they were selling versions of that little bear carving. Hey, what's up, Break?
I was too late. Someone had destroyed the circuit breaker. There was no way to get the lights back on.
Rusty! And now we have this black ooze. And we will talk more about those when we get to the lodge.
I just need anti-licenses.
I'm not moving, you move. I'm the hunter and you're the prey. You've succeeded in making carnivore biscuits and figured out how to cure hiccups with breath control. It's been a fruitful... Dude, awesome. Very productive day.
Something had torn a mammoth-sized hole in the wall.
A mammoth-sized hole? You say, Charlie, was that you?
Don't feed the animals.
Sorry, guys. Max didn't make it.
Is only permitted for
Moment of
those
silence.
Who purchase a park
fishing
license? Obey!
the park ranger's instructions.
At all times.
Get away. Get away.
Two bears and wolves.
I was actually working on trying to make like carnivore flatbread or tortillas to make some tacos. Like, I think it's just like egg whites and like fluffed egg whites and egg yolks mixed with like cottage cheese, and then you bake them or air fry them.
This includes even you may even simple berries.
Sorry, Rusty. Rest in peace, brother. Lots of HP on that boy. 1 second, guys. Let me get some more ammo before you attack me. No. Stop it. Stop it. Boom. Alrighties. So there's a few random details here. Let's not look that direction because I do not want to look at the body over there. But in the novelization, Rusty's death hits Alan much, much harder than Stucky's. Because Stucky, he didn't know him. He never even met the guy. He was just taken the first time he met him. But Rusty, he's known him for at least a week, technically. He's met him on, I want to say, 2 or 3 occasions. So having to put him down was putting down someone he knew versus a complete stranger. So it kind of messed him up a little bit. But there's also the comment that was made in the manuscript just now about a mammoth-sized hole. Weirdly enough, he's not the only one that said that. Pause. So in the Alan Wake files, we do have a notice. Let me see if I can find it. There was, I think, a newspaper article about this. Opening River and Lava, Stephen Demings with the Army Seismic. Nope, not that one. Crime author as intrigue. Original. This is a domestic disturbance call. Nope. Freedom of Information Act. Nope. Let me see if I control F it. Alright, so right here. In the aftermath of the whole situation, the famous Bucktooth Charlie at the Elderwood Visitor Center, one local insisted that the mammoth itself had come alive and rampaged through the center on the night of its destruction. So we literally have one dude who's like, yeah, Charlie came alive and tore a hole in that. But again, no one else was there, so maybe he's probably just talking smack. But again, you know how rumors and urban legends affect this town and the lake, so it's probably not the smartest thing to talk about. Definitely what happened. Alright, so also in the original commentary during this scene, some of the devs talk about that the idea of Taken are kind of a play on serial killers in general. They said, because you never really know who they are or when they can snap. Everyone is capable somewhere deep down. And same thing with the Taken here, is they could be a regular person one day and then boom, an evil monster the very next. And just in case we wanted to make things a little bit more depressing just now, according to the survival guide, when Rusty is here by himself and no one's around, he will sometimes come up to the Bucktooth Charlie and start talking to him to just get all of his problems off his chest. because he needed to talk to someone, so when he's alone, he would talk to Charlie about his issues. And they also confirmed that he, because of his death here, he never got around to asking Rose out. Well, then, Charlie should have come to life to protect him. Yep. Rest in peace, brother.
What the hell was that? I saw from the window. I saw something.
Forget about it, Barry. It's just me going crazy.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. You're not crazy. I wish you were crazy, but you're not crazy. Ow, be careful.
Stay in the cabin. Don't open the door for anyone. I mean it.
That would be crazy if we had a Bucktooth Charlie boss fight. I mean, originally they were supposed to have, like, taken bears, taken wolves, and other taken animal species, but they ended up cutting it and consolidating it to be just the birds.
In that last instant of consciousness, Rusty thought about Rose. He was older than she was. Rose was barely out of her teens, but she made him feel young and forget what a train wreck his long-dead marriage had been. He still wore the ring. He'd been waiting for her to tell him to take it off. Now she never would.
And now it's time for some moonshine, because, you know, we need some moonshine after that. Is this Alan giving mercy? I mean, no, Wolf. This is the dark presence controlling the whole thing. Alan had very little actual involvement in this story. And you could argue he had more involvement in return, but Scratch had most of the involvement in return. You know what?
Peak was at the far end of the nature trail.
No. We're going this way. Entering Moonshine Cave. Because after the death of a buddy, we need to have, we need to drink. Taking rats? Oh, dude, taking rats would be creepy, dude. No, you don't come down here. Alright, this cave was the site of frequent and lucrative bootlegger activity throughout the Prohibition from 1919 to 1933. It was mostly used for temporary storage of alcohol smuggled from Canada, but at times alcohol was also distilled on these premises. I'm curious where the distillation equipment would have been, or maybe if the cave system was also bigger at that time. Who knows? And we get ourselves a shotgun. And yes, it is a real shotgun. And you guys know what this means? Because we found a hidden cache. Let's go see what Cynthia has waiting for us on page 77. Alright, page 77 of the survival guide. So we're at 75. Boom. So as we remember, each one and every one of these, Cynthia left a message for us. Better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. The bootleggers are gone, and the bats aren't taken by the dark. The raised alcove at the back of Moonshine Cave is a place of importance. It shall aid the walker of light. Let me see if I have a note about who did that quote. Better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. There we go. Sorry, I have 55 pages of notes in my full thing, so let me scroll through this real quick. There we go. Number 5. I actually didn't write down who wrote that quote. Let me see if I can find it. William L. Watkinson. Thank you, Break. I don't have to Google it. But she eventually tells us some really weird stuff by the end of this. You can hear the mouse going full speed. Yeah. Again, I consolidated the 55 pages of notes down to 32 pages, which is my checklist, but it's a lot. I wonder if the Andersons ever spent some time in here. Wouldn't surprise me. And back during Prohibition, do you think they made the moonshine the same way the Andersons do? Who knows? He was a Methodist preacher, and it was a sermon he published in 1907. Okay. Oh, the holy Jesus. Okay, let me get on the bridge just so I can funnel you guys. Alright, there we go. Now I got you all bottlenecked. Shit. Messing up the stagger. Beautiful. I probably should have just kept running, considering the fact that this is Nightmare and I'm going to have limited ammunition. Okay, so this is a place called Waterfall Vista up here. I don't think they put a sign up. Maybe they do. Cafe and souvenir shop, they do not.
Nobody in Bright Falls seemed to know where Al was, but Rose, the waitress at the diner, had seen him. From what Barry could tell, Al pretty much fell off the face of the earth when he left the diner. Rose was just the kind of fan that Al hated. But she really tried to help. She was smart, too. Knew a lot about what was going on in the town. Knew a lot about Al. Even knew who Barry was. Barry liked her. That was no big surprise. When it came to women, Barry and Al rarely saw eye to eye.
Yeah, he made his interest known. Yeah, this actually is a pretty nice spot. He's got the waterfall right there. It's kind of pretty. Actually, since we're on this note, let's head over to the map. So where we were is we started over here in the Bright Falls. This is where the sheriff's station is, right here. Now, the Elderwood National Park is right around here, and this is going to be where Rusty's cabins are located. So most likely, the waterfall is along this river. And we just crossed the river, so I'm curious if the cabins are like somewhere around here. We cross the river here, and then we're heading up to Lover's Peak in this direction. But this is where we're at currently. Old school moonshiners would probably use lake water too, just like the Andersons. Okay. I will take your note of that. Okay. Let's head back down and get back on the path. We're about to be attacked. Let's just get into the safe haven light real quick. But would the lake have been active back then? Or did Zane start it proper? I mean, technically, we haven't gotten here, but the lake was formed, I want to say thousands of years when the caldera, the volcano collapsed. So it's been there for thousands of years, and even the original native tribes told stories about stuff happening in the lake. And we will read instances, I think, tracking back as like the late 19th century of weird events that happened around the lake. So yes, it's been active since that far back. Hello there, big man. Stop it. Stop running after me with that sledgehammer. I do not approve of it. Stop it. Okay. There we go. Beautiful. Well, you also have to keep in mind, it's not necessarily just the Dark Presence doing everything, but the lake itself has its own thing. The Dark Presence is just an entity that exists within the lake. And there's a whole pantheon of entities that live down there. Yeah, we'll talk more about that when we get into American Nightmare. The Great Old One, felled by lightning in 1937. This exceptionally tall Rocky Mountain Douglas fir, Pseudotsuga mens... I'm not even going to try that line. Was over 200 years old. According to local legends, it stretched beyond the stars. After it fell, it was measured to be 66 meters tall, nearly record in length. And yes, the Great Old One, Ia. 1937 was H.P. Lovecraft's death. So yes, the Great Old One was Lovecraft that was felled by lightning in 37. Okay. Oh! You know what? I'm gonna try to save my ammunition right now. Because right now, because we are on a nightmare difficulty, so I don't really trust myself. Please! 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 Okay, we good. We good. Would you put the Dark Presence on the scale of a banished god or an eldritch being? Eldritch. But then again, I don't know what the classification difference between an eldritch versus a lesser god would be. Or an outer god. I don't really know the differences. I mean, one could argue it's an outer god just because it exists outside of this reality. But again, I'm no expert in Lovecraft lore, so... Okay.
I turned the corner, afraid of what the flashlight's beam might reveal. Suddenly, a roughly painted symbol of a torch glowed in the light. Behind it, hidden by a rock, sat a battered metal trunk. It was here for a reason. Packed with supplies, batteries, flares, ammo. Things you need to make it through the darkness of the night. Something left behind by someone who knew what I knew, and more.
Yeah, like, I always use them interchangeably, Blue Cat, which is why I don't really know the difference in classifications. Thank you, Cynthia, for leaving us these. There we go. All right, we got some coffee thermos lore time. Boom, and this one's going to be on page 79. There we go. Yeah, we found another one on a rock shelf overlooking the tree ring near the phone booth. Some crazy had taken an axe to. Almost busted my ankle slipping on the damn rocks getting to it. First hint to Cynthia being the one who left the supply. Well, this one is just a hint that somebody has been leaving those for us. It doesn't specifically reference Cynthia at this moment. Okay, let me cross that off. While outer gods are more powerful, cosmic beings exist beyond normal space and time, often indifferent to hostile to humanity. I mean, like, I would consider it an outer god then. Because one, it does exist outside of this reality, specifically in the Dark Place threshold. And considering the Dark Place is kind of a state of pre-materia, it's pre-creation. Hello there, big boy. Slightly smaller boy. Oh, crap! Okay, I'm going to get killed right here. I am not ready for this. I am completely surrounded! And I have no torches! Okay, I got past him. We're good. Oh my god, you literally just... No! Get in the light! Okay, we're good. Whew. I just wanted to make it this far. I literally just wanted to make it this far, because you can easily run out of ammo during that conflict, so I'm just like, okay, moving on. Let me grab that, and let's do some more Thermos lore real fast. That's going to be number 24. Okay. There was evidence of another coffee thermos out of the tree ring deep in the trail to Lover's Peak. We're still maintaining these were placed by Rusty as part of an infatuation with Rose. I'd better not be proven wrong. You're proven wrong, buddy. I'm just saying. Just saying you're wrong. Let's do that. Alright. Now let's read you. This tree ring was cut from, the tree this ring was cut from started growing in 1846, the year of Oregon Treaty was signed. Other notable events marked on the rings. 1853, the Washington Territory was formed. 1878, the founding of the Bright Falls Mining Company in the town itself by Hubert Biltmore and Amos Gunderson. 1889, Washington was granted statehood. 1929, tree damaged in a forest fire. So a large event like a forest fire could just be naturally occurring, but I always question if there was a piece of art involved in that event. Because remember, there was a cut piece of content. I don't know if I mentioned it, but there was a scenario in the game that was cut from the final version where the entire forest was lit on fire. And you had Sarah on the radio basically guiding Alan through the burning woods to get to safety to the fire station. Anyways, 1970, the Bright Falls Mining Company closes its doors after a volcanic eruption below Cauldron Lake. 1980, Mount St. Helens erupts. In 1987, the tree is felled by a storm. Okay, I need to check the Alan Wake timeline real quick, because I think it was around 87 when Tor banished Mr. Dorn to the Dark Place by throwing lightning at him. I'm curious if it's tied to the same event. Let me check real quick. Because I know Mr. Dorr and the Andersons had their battle near the late 80s. Okay, so no, it says in 1988 that Tor and Warlandor had their battle on the shores of Cauldron Lake. Okay. So that's 88, so that's a year later. Okay, that would have been really cool if they just made it 87 and then they just tied this storm that felled the tree to that event. Hey, if I was in the writer's room when they were making Alan Wake 2, I would have told them, why do 88? Do 87. Perfect. But they didn't... Remedy didn't hire me to be their freaking lore Bible expert, so nah. Anyways. And in the context of this series, do you think the eruption of Mount St. Helens had anything to do with anything? I think it was 76, Marama, when the tornado hit the farm. I wonder if St. Helens had anything to do with anything here. Okay, I'm gonna have to take him out. Damn it. I thought I was gonna get lucky. I do not know if I'm gonna make it past this. Okay, run! Screw you, screw you, screw you, screw you. Alright, we're good. Hey, stop it, stop it. I love that I can hear them moving around, and the bushes are still moving. I don't like this. Okay, just jump, just jump. I win.
Agent Nightingale didn't want to be in Bright Falls. These little communities revolted him, and he didn't like the trees or the coffee.
Cooper would be pissed.
That impossible horrors lurked behind the storefronts and smiles. He desperately wanted to turn the car around and just drive until he passed out or ran out of road and booze. But he had a job to do. He had a rider to catch, at any cost.
I mean, what mountain was it? It's not St. Helens, but it's the one that's south of it that I think is in the Oregon Territory. That supposedly, at least according to the literature, is a hotspot for UFO activity. So it'd be kind of interesting if they did have something like St. Helens or other mountains like that. Let me see if I can find it. Give me a second. Just so you guys know, this is a little bit about Dean lore. My dad is a huge nerd for ufology, so I got raised listening to UFO stories. One second. I think, oh, Mount Rainier, yeah. So Mount Rainier, which I think is the mountain range below St. Helens in Oregon, is famous for its UFO stuff. So yeah, it'd be interesting if there was something going on in the 80s at St. Helens that it also exploded. But again, there's no evidence for that, but it'd be fun. It's like a mystery box where you could choose to make a story about it or just ignore it as irrelevant. You're back with the pizza? Dude, I had some pizza tonight too. Just because. Alright. Before we head down here, because they mentioned Agent Nightingale, we're going to go ahead and do some Alan Wake files dealing with Senior Nightingale. So one second. Alright, here we go. Whoosh. Let's not worry about the preface, because we already read that. Nightingale's Field Notes. So I have a note here to read the introduction. Specifically the introduction. So let's go. The handwritten notes found among Agent Nightingale's effects. Remember, when Clay Stewart came to Bright Falls, he stayed in room 2 of the Majestic and found Nightingale's dossier and field notes hidden inside the vent. So Clay's just going through all the stuff that was left over from Nightingale's effects. So the handwritten notes found among Agent Nightingale's effects form perhaps the most telling document in the collection about his internal struggle as he pursued Alan Wake. The mixture of driving forces creating a maelstrom of turbulence inside a man, not unlike Wake, trying to hold himself together while pursuing a quixotic goal. The notes are presented here in a facsimile form to give readers the same sense of physical texture I found when discovering them. Here, Nightingale inadvertently exposed his tortured ambivalence alongside his dogged determination. These ghosts from his past battle with the demons he meets in the present. As for his future, there seems to be nothing brighter than doubt. It is unclear whether this cache represents the entirety of the notes he took or simply a portion. They do, however, suggest that Nightingale was at the breaking point, both physically and mentally. Whether the abrupt end of his field notes was the result of sheer exhaustion on the agent's part, or another more nefarious explanation, I am unable to determine. And we are not going to read these. Actually, we will read the first one. Day 1 night. So this is basically just as Nightingale gets into town. And this is before he goes to the sheriff's station and speaks to Breaker. Because remember, the very next morning is when Sheriff Breaker calls us and says, hey, Nightingale's looking for you. So we can read night 1. As I'm reading this is when he shows up in town. Exhausted, missed the turnoff, took 2 hours longer than planned. Trees are pretty, but hell, they all look alike. This place really is in the middle of nowhere. And not the exact middle, that would be too easy. Sun's already down, motel stinks and not in a good Chicago way. Majestic my ass. Got to check in with a local Johnny Law in the morning. Haven't really grilled the local yokels yet. Don't think the morn at the front desk counts. So he was interviewing the guy at the Majestic who runs the place. Wish I had the Bureau's backing. Some official resources would help. But then there'd be a lot of explaining to do, and I've got no better way to burn my free time. So it sounds like he's not working at the moment. He's on leave for whatever reason. Still have a few favors I can call in if I need some heavy lifting. Better this way. So it also implies he still has contacts back at the Bureau. And then he set his coffee down on this page after writing it. Okay. Now, also in the survival guide, they claimed that Nightingale came to Bright Falls to investigate a missing woman. Noticed the town was a higher than average disappearance rate, determined Alan to be a serial killer. So most likely he heard that Alice Wake went missing, or he heard that Ellen Adams went missing. Because it doesn't specify which woman they were talking about when it comes to a missing persons case. Because Ellen Adams vanished, I want to say, the day before Alice. She was the woman that Jake Fisher ended up killing in the woods. But then Alice went missing. So when Nightingale got wind of this whole thing, he looked into it and says, hey, this town, people go missing here quite often. So he decided, you know what, screw it. And he found out Alan Wake was staying there. And shit started happening. Because he may or may not already have been aware of Alan before that. There's also a comment that Alan wonders when he's before the Great Old One if the tree is dead or merely sleeping. That's in the survival guide. And there's one more detail that we have to look through. So let's go back to the survival guide. There's another newspaper article from Cynthia Weaver we got to read before we continue onwards. This is on page 214. Come on. Where are you? 212, 213. Boom. There we go. Okay, you guys remember at the very beginning we talked about the British author, crime author, Robert Hambleton, a.k.a. the Colonel, where he was at the huntsman's cabin at Rain Cove Point, saw some lights in the sky, then ran away, and within the next couple of days, Barbara drowned, and Thomas Zane, the poet, said that the Colonel was an unwelcome guest. We have a follow-up. So this is August 7th of 1970. So this is a couple days. Barbara fell into the lake on the 5th. And this is an article written by Cynthia Weaver when she was still the editor. Body in vehicle now confirmed that of a British tourist. The skeletal remains found in the abandoned pickup truck last Monday evening have been positively identified as those of Robert Colonel Hambleton. The British tourist and author was thought to have left the area heading for Seattle or Portland after witnessing some apparent unexplained phenomenon up in the southern ridge of Cauldron Lake. Authorities in the United Kingdom have been notified. A spokesman for the Bright Falls County Sheriff Department held a press conference yesterday but provided little in the way of explanation for how the truck arrived in its location deep inside of Elderwood National Park and state of decomposition of the body. The hiker who found the body on condition of anonymity told this reporter that she was out hiking when she heard an almighty crack and saw something drop from the sky. I didn't know what it was. I thought another plane had gone down at the first, but there was no smoke. Nothing. And when they're talking about the fallen plane, we'll get to that in a second, because that's another newspaper article. The hiker approached the scene and recalled the following. There was a pickup truck just sitting there. It looked wet, dripping with water. It had struck one of the trees. The truck looked like it had been dropped from the sky, probably because it was in the lake and got thrown up. Like, the Dark Presence keeps throwing things all over the place, specifically with tornadoes. Oh yeah, there's a fallen plane, James. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, she didn't notice the body right away. It was still slumped in the driver's seat. The flesh was all hanging off and bloated, mostly eaten away. God, it was horrible. The hiker was later admitted to the Cauldron Lake Lodge for evaluation. So after the colonel ran away from Raincoe Point after seeing the lights in the sky, he disappeared for, I want to say, less than a week, and then got spat out of the lake dead and waterlogged. Yep, the lake burped him out. I guess it couldn't use it. But it also begs the question, if Hambleton was at one point inside the lake, did he produce anything while down there? Or is he dead before he got to that point? Who knows? Who knows? Let's get back to the game, though. And it just really begs the question just how many artists the lake has taken over its years. I mean, I had some hypotheses before Alan Wake 2 came out that some of the intelligent beings down there might have been artists who got lost, like, centuries ago, and are still there. But, whatever. So a cool little detail in the novel here, even though it's obviously not here, but apparently there's a sign right next to the gondola that just says, use at your own risk. I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to do that. Yeah, and it's been so long that they've become monsters in their own right, or even like pseudo-deities. Because remember, American Nightmare does confirm that there is almost an entire pantheon of presences down there. Forest leaves, I think it's a possibility. I mean, it's feasible that that could happen. Now, we've never, with the exception of possibly the filmmaker, the comic filmmaker, we haven't seen any example of that. Oh, crap. Yeah, it's kind of like what happened to Alan, except he didn't go completely crazy. Whoa, cat! Cat!
You can see them too?
Cat!
Hell, of course I see them. Come on, we gotta move.
Why?
Because that's the way the story goes.
Yeah, but...
Let's move!
I lost my gun back there.
Oh, I've got a gun. Just keep that light steady on him.
It took a moment.
Can you hear me now? Did she literally mute me? Did you guys just hear me yelling about how she skipped the cutscene? How much did you guys miss? Wow, she simultaneously muted me and skipped the cutscene. Wow. And think she just wanted to leave the room.
I recognized him. He'd been on the ferry when I first arrived here with Alice. He knew my name. We were headed in the direction of Lover's Peak. There was no way this was a coincidence. He was the kidnapper.
Come on, Wake. You better keep up. You set him up, and I'll
All right,
knock him
let's do
down,
this.
Wake.
All right, so we're probably not going to be able to get too far into this because we're coming up on the time I normally end stream, but maybe after the Lover's Peak section. Mott, save your ammo. Mott, do your job. You're failing at your one job. Mott, you are horrible at this. Shoot the ones that aren't protected by darkness, you dildo. Okay, at least we got that. And I can do my stun locking. Well, it's not only that he's a shit shot, he keeps targeting the one that's still protected by darkness. No, Draco, it's not that the AI shoots the one I'm aiming at. It's Mott's horror. Because if we accept that, that means I'm at fault for his AI behavior. Which is not true. So look, I'm aiming at this one, he's shooting at the other one, so that's a negative. There we go.
First peak, right up these stairs, Wake. Use the flares from the emergency box to hold them off while I get these boards
I
off.
really wish.
Give me the gun.
Yeah, no can do, Wake.
Are you kidding? Give me the gun.
No time for back talk. Hold them off, damn it.
You know what I find most disconcerting about this entire scenario is the knowledge that Ben Mott has actually done prison time for firearm-related criminal infractions. Specifically what that is, we're never really told, but he has done prison time for those reasons.
Just a little longer, I almost got it. Okay, it's open. Move it along.
Cool. Oh shit! Let's go.
Oh, you feeling better now, Wake? All cozy and safe. Better get ready. They'll be on us soon.
All right. Ruh-roh, we got some thermoses first, so thermos time before we do this. All right, so that's going to be on page 83, so let's backtrack. Where is it? Where is it? There we go. Rusty meets Rose. Rusty lusts after Rose from afar. He's too shy and she's too dumb to do anything about it. So Rusty gathers all this coffee thermoses she's given him and leaves them on his travels around the park, like this one behind the sign by Lover's Peak. It's just a theory. A game theory. This agent's not very smart. I'll just say that. Just saying. All right.
This is it, Wake. The last stand. There's more flares here. Get ready. We fight.
All right,
them
let's do
as
this.
long as they keep coming.
Give me the goddamn gun! They're coming!
That's not how this goes.
True, James. How does he know about Rusty's crush? I mean, presumably Rusty's already dead by the time he shows up in town. I mean, Nightingale was the first one on site, and he literally just got here this very night. I mean, you could presume that while Mott and Alan are doing this right now, Nightingale just checked into the Majestic. Oh my god, kill one of them at least! There you go. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a very open secret that, that's a thing. Oh, that was my bad. For some reason, I did not hit the dodge button. Thank you.
I know this hurt. This is a piece of cake, Wake.
We're about to lose all of our stuff, so there's literally no reason not to just abuse the hell out of these. Like how Mom basically just said, get good. Yeah, pretty much. Oh, that guy just got thrown off. Boom. Shoot! Why did I just stand there? For some reason I thought I could stun lock him with a flashlight and forgot you can't do that while he's charging. There we go. Alright.
Let's cut the act now. Where's my wife?
I knew you were gonna say that. I read it all before. You're a hell of a writer. Congratulations. You're gonna bring about something glorious and terrible once we get you some proper editorial control.
What the hell are you talking about? Where's Alice?
I want the entire manuscript, or she's gonna suffer bad.
You touch her now.
So that one was 100% justified. And knowing what we know now, the one Hartman's punch to the face is also justified, but whatever. I mean, he does have a pretty solid right punch, I'm not gonna lie.
You're gonna give me the manuscript or you'll be sorry.
No! Come back here! I swear I'll kill you if you hurt Alice! Do you hear me? Come back here!
He had Alice, and he wanted the manuscript because he thought it held some magical power. But I had no manuscript to give him. I had to get back to Barry and figure out my next move.
Alright, so here we actually have another one of the missing manuscript pages to read because the event in which it describes actually takes place right here. So let's take a look real quick. So back to the Alan Wake files. Now let's look for those missing manuscript pages. Hopefully I can find it quicker than last time. There we go. So this one right here. 4 days after she reached the age of 26, Maggie decided her life was over. If asked to explain why, she could not have answered. If pressed, she might admit it had something to do with Samuel, how he had just left 3 months ago without a word, and how she had just seen him at a party, and how he had his arm around a beautiful girl she'd never seen before. It was more than that, of course. It was always more than that. That's why she was walking the 7 miles to Lover's Peak. Teenagers had parties out there, and very occasionally someone would fall or jump. She hiked the trails wearing her old headlamp, following the bouncing ball of light like she was reading the lyrics to a song. When she reached the peak, she switched the headlamp off. If asked, she would say she did not jump. She simply inched herself closer and closer to the edge until the inevitable happened. Eyes wide open, she fell rapidly, but death was quicker. In her last moment, she saw a great cloud of ink rise from the tree canopy and catch her like an insect in the amber. It held her softly the way Samuel once did, and by the time it brought her down to the forest floor to settle her on her feet, it was as though she were reborn and ready to start her new life. Perhaps she would visit an old friend and... So, do we think she actually died and she's now living in another reality, or do we think that she had the intention to die and then a cloud grabbed her and said, no, you're not dying, and set her down? Because it's kind of vague. Because they do say that death came quicker, but then the other implication is that she was picked up and laid down softly on the forest floor. And then she started rethinking. She wants to live her life now. You think she's taken and that the whole visiting an old friend means she's going to go kill someone? Because that could be an interpretation too, is that the new life and visiting an old friend was literally just with the intention of killing him. Well, yeah, I'd presume, if not the dark presence, the dark cloud is definitely something of weirdness. But it's ambiguous. This whole second half here is very ambiguous. I didn't want to make any presuppositions here. So I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, this is located right here. And because we still have quite a way to go, and there's quite a few sections to get through that are not part of the game. So I think, honestly, this might be a good place to hold off here. Insect and amber also means death. Okay. That's fine. But yeah, so I think this is a good place to end, and we will continue on and finish up the episode 2, and probably get a little bit into episode 3 in the next one. And just so everyone is ready and has the incentive for the cliffhanger, somewhere in these woods between here and getting back to the visitor center, we find the hideout where the poachers who set up the bear traps that injured Max was hiding. And we get to find them. And we get to go... Yeah, we'll get our revenge, don't worry. We'll see them very, very soon. Anyways, take it easy, guys. I'll see you all next time in a couple days, Wednesday. And we will get this going and get our revenge. And take it easy, guys.